What's up guys, it's me Jeremy. With the small Lux buff in patch 5.17, as well as the meta shifts towards Juggernauts and Bruisers, Lux is starting to arise as a really dominant pick, as her playstyle is a perfect counter to the Bruiser meta, and she's proving to be a really strong champion, especially for solo queue. Now, I'm not the best Lux player, but I'll definitely be learning her now that she's so good in this meta. Let's get started. The buff in patch 5.17 for Lux reduced the mana cost of her Q by 5 mana per rank starting at rank 2, and caused her Q to now deal the full 100% of the damage to the second target it hits. Now on paper, this buff seems pretty small, and it kind of is, but Lux has gained a huge amount of power due to the meta shifts in this last few patches. Don't get me wrong, the buff is still nice and still helps, and is great for helping her with her wave clear, as well as if you can find a nice double bind catch onto your opponents, but it didn't necessarily affect any of the reasons for why she wasn't played previously. Lux is a champion who is incredibly reliant on skill shots, so in a meta where champions are mobile or outrange Lux, or really just have reliable ways to dodge their skill shots, Lux has a hard time succeeding. But with the Juggernaut updates, short range and mobile tanks are dominating the meta now, whereas before in the Cinderhulk tank meta, most tanks being played were actually quite mobile, or were way too tanky for Lux to have any chance of killing them. But now the tanks are a little bit less mobile and a lot less tanky, giving Lux's poke burst mage playstyle with high range and incredibly strong kiting a lot of strength in this new meta. And she's such a dynamic pick. Her high range and crowd control causes her to just wreck Bruisers completely. If you hit a Juggernaut with a Lux binding, they honestly just get wrecked because they're going to take a ton of damage, won't be in range to hit anyone, and will be completely vulnerable for a few seconds. Not to mention you can combo it with additional crowd control very easily. And on the other hand, her burst damage combo allows her to do great versus squishies as well, and her binding gives her a fantastic level 1, and so she's strong throughout all phases of the game, as her high range poke gives her a dominant laning phase against most matchups. Her sieging strength from her poke makes her strong in the mid game too, and her sweet pick potential makes her able to catch people out and carry in the late game as well. Her shield also makes her trading fantastic and really helps versus any poke the opponents might happen to have as well. Burst damage and high range crowd control is a fantastic combo to have on a kit that we don't see too many champions nowadays, and are great for carrying games in solo queue, as it makes your pick potential just insane. In this patch, she's risen to about a 55% win ratio, the highest of any mid lane champion, and the second highest win rate overall, behind only the mess of a champion that is Skarner. One thing that Lux does better than any other mid laner in the game that most people might not think about is that the options she has for summoner spells is incredibly dynamic. You can take Ignite in a really favorable matchup to help her snowball, you could take Barrier or Heal to be more defensive, and you can even take Teleport if you're versus someone like Twisted Fate to keep up on the map pressure. And in addition, her build path is quite dynamic too, and you can succeed with almost any AP item on Lux, so you can very much tailor your build to the specific game that you're in. And with her super high range ultimate, her roams are quite easy to pull off, and she can affect the map as well as you would expect from any mid lane champion. On the flip side though, she's quite vulnerable to ganks because your opponents can flash over your bindings to catch you out, and if they get in range and surprise you or find a way to get you out of position, you're going to melt down super fast since Lux is really squishy, and her shield is more of a tool for short trades and poke, and isn't always going to help you enough if you get jumped on. And since she is relying on skill shots, some high mobility matchups can outplay her quite easily, so watch out for some of those counter picks. Anyways, I hope you get a chance to try out Lux again on this patch, as I'll definitely be playing her as my go-to mid laner.
Far along the way, divine